Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special episode of Support is Sexy. I know I always say this is a special episode, but this one is truly, truly special because I have my friend, my brother from another mother, and the first man to appear on the Support is Sexy podcast. No pressure. First man in 6 years and 800
Wow.
plus episodes. I know. I'm just so excited. Mark Jenkins is here with us. Mark, thank you for being here with us.
Hey, thank you for having me. That's quite an honor. I appreciate it. The first
Of course.
guy. Yeah. No pressure.
First
No
guy
pressure.
ever. No pressure. No pressure at all. So I want to tell you all about Mark. Reading from his bio, but I just have to tell you from personal experience. I've known him for I don't know how long, over 10 years for sure. I don't know if it's been
Oh, yeah.
20 yet, but definitely longer than 10 years.
Closer
Might
to
even be
20, I
20,
think. Yeah,
closer to
closer to
20
20.
years
Yeah.
now. Whew, and he has just been not only a rock for me in my fitness journey. I have times where off and on I work with him for a long period of time, and then we move and things happen, and I'm working out with him again now virtually as my trainer. He's keeping me together and motivated, but also just even as a friend and someone to connect with and talk about business and just how to keep your mind right and not only your body right but your spirit right. So he really is just that kind of person. I don't know if I told you that, Mark, but he really is just that kind of person
Thank you
that
so
is,
much.
yeah, of course, good energy, good to be around, and then super knowledgeable about health and fitness and all of those things. So I really just am excited to have him share with us his experience and ask him some fitness questions. If any of you watching now or if you watch the replay later have any questions for Mark, make sure to put it in the chat or the comments. We'll ask him live if you ask him now, or we'll ask him later if you put it in the comments, and I'll circle back with him during one of our training sessions. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about Mark. So Mark was born in Brooklyn. Yay! He is one of the most in-demand fitness and wellness experts in the world. He's known for his quick transformations, for sure. His large client roster includes superstars such as Mary J. Blige, Beyonce, D'Angelo, LL Cool J, Q-Tip, P. Diddy, Raphael Sadiq, Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, and I have to add myself just because I think I'm
Of
a celebrity in
course.
my head,
Of course.
many others. He first, though, transformed himself, going from a severely overweight youth with a 45-inch waist to washboard abs, even at 51, right, Mark? I can tell your age.
At 51. Yes, ma'am.
Even at 51, while serving, though, at the time in the U.S. Navy. He then learned to apply those techniques to other servicemen, later becoming the man superstars contact when they need to look their very best. With over 40,000 hours of personal training hours under his belt, he is a master trainer. Mark is also author of the book, The Jump Off 60 Days to a Hip Hop Hard Body, which is available on Amazon.com. And it features a foreword by his longtime client, Mary J. Blige. And I also have a link to Mark's website in the comments. So make sure you go there and find out more about that. You can find out more about his book. And also, we have a link to a special offer from Mark for Juice Plus, which is a supplement product, which we can talk about more, but I actually use it. It works for me. Everybody's always promoting something, selling something. When Mark recommends something to me, I listen. And it has been so helpful for me especially with recovery. I'm not 51 yet, but I is 49. So it's been very helpful to me with recovery and just how I feel, especially after workouts and that kind of thing. So with that, I know that was a long opening, but with that, again, welcome, Mark. I'm happy to have you here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. That was quite an intro. And it is indeed to be an honor out of all your shows you've done to be the first dude on here. Thank you so much. That's big.
That's
Wow.
right. No pressure. So let's start then with talking about to you, what does it mean to be fit or healthy or in shape to you, especially in this time when so many of us are influenced by what we see on Instagram and all these other social media platforms. When you started, that didn't exist. So
Yeah.
now, why is it important? What's your definition of fitness and wellness?
Well, now, interestingly enough, because back then we just called it the fitness lifestyle, but now it's called the wellness or self care. Everybody's on that tip. It's changed, but back then, I don't think society was as stressful or people weren't as aware of the stressors. So there wasn't as much of an emphasis on taking care of yourself. That was more of especially in the fitness community, that was something that was always practiced and preached. Like I used to tell you that when we started training, if you don't actually take the time out to make the training session, how can you get in shape? Then how can you give more
Hmm.
energy to your job? How can you take that next level personally? How can you get that next degree when your health is not right, when your brain is not functioning? So besides health, it's intrinsic, especially for the African American community, to look at wellness in its totality because we need certain aspects of it to be successful or to make it out of our current situations.
hmm And I think
So,
that's something that, as you said, is something you've always stressed to me, and just that I've learned over time. Some people might think that working out is just about how you look, or even is just about how you feel related to physical fitness. But as you said, it influences so many other parts of your life. Like we're doing this on LinkedIn Live, so a lot of professionals will be watching. So you might think that it's better for you to continue to work and be stressed out and those kind of things, and you're sacrificing your workout and your fitness routine, when really that could be the thing that helps you be less stressed at work. Is that right?
yeah, absolutely on the work wise, and there's your social wellness. Your social wellness spills into your occupational wellness because the people in your workforce or your work environment might be hostile, thus turning your social environment and your work environment to the same thing. So your overall wellness, how you're making your money, how much time you're allocating to making money, how much money you're allocating to your wellness, all of these things now you have to look at just to keep your immune system healthy enough for anything that might come up in the future, and to be able to thrive in the present.
Right. Now we're not going to beat up on the African American community, but you and I are both from the, Black community,
Right, right.
and we know folks, not everybody, so don't y'all go crazy on us, but not everybody, but there are some folks, and maybe out in other communities as well though, who who aren't convinced that they need to invest financially in their health and wellness and fitness. So, it's fine to run outside and to do things, fitness wise for free. You post great videos of yourself doing things outside in the park and jumping rope and all those kind of things. But why is it we might be interested, more likely to invest in some other things than thinking about an investment in our health and wellness?
Well, I mean, it's by design. It's by design. A lot of these corporations, they put billions of marketing dollars into getting us to look at fast food more and entertainment more as opposed to making healthy choices. So it's about design because they get us on both ends. They get us with the fast food and then they sell us prescription drugs. So
Right.
they double dip on us as a consumer. So if you're not aware of it, so that's one of the reasons why I'm so glad I could be on here and you can have me on here so I can just make people aware that there's a marketing scheme that goes into you investing more into your entertainment and fast food than your actual health and wellness. You take a kid, for example, like Washington, D.C. has more food deserts than any place in America, I think statistically. And that's why I harp on African Americans and Latina Mexicans, because statistically we have the highest obesity level. So it's not that I'm
Mm,
harping on any one race or our race in particular. I'm just looking at the numbers.
mm-hmm.
So I think that's important to get out as well. So if you look at that and you have a food desert as a child is developing, you need those nutrients, certain nutrients for proper brain function. Then you have kids who have behavioral problems because of lack of nutrients as they were growing up. And then that becomes a societal problem. So when you look at wellness, you have to look at environmental wellness, social wellness, your spiritual wellness, your physical wellness, your occupational wellness. There's 12 pillars. I think I only got 5 or 6. I can
There's
remember I have
12
to,
pillars.
there's 12 and it's constantly evolving and changing definitions because they all cross reference and transcend each other. Because
Mm-hmm.
but you need financial wellness to accomplish most of these things, right? And
Right.
and you need your physical wellness to accomplish most of these things. So
Right.
it's more of looking at it as a whole as opposed to looking at your individual wellness. And you also have to understand that wellness looks different for each person.
Yeah, let's
So
talk about that. So so different people are going to be different ages watching this, and
right.
different, abilities as far as how their physical ability, different endurance, there's just so many different ways to do it. How do we, I guess maybe look at it from how do you as a trainer adjust the ways that you support people depending on where they are, or if we're doing it on our own, how can we not fall into the trap of, oh, I need to be like that person if that's not where I am?
Yeah, I can tell you as a trainer, the client assessment is like the most important part, and just to beyond taking down the notes, like how much they eat and their body fat and their measurements and all of that stuff and their hydration and prior injuries, just to vibe with the person and talk to them, see where they're at in life, see what they need to use their body for. Because might have a client that's presenting in front of people more, so they need more have more of a physical presence because it factors into their job. Or I had
Mhm.
one client who was the VP for ESPN, and so it was important for her to be in shape to be able to participate in the group baseball games. And or I had another client who was a female who was third generation FBI, and she couldn't pass the physical to get into the FBI, and she was
Mm.
like third generation. So a lot of interesting stories about different women in different fields throughout the years. So once you assess the client, you get that, and then I build a program around that. And then what I always tell them is, I said, the way I get you in shape is the way you're going to have to sustain it. So let's try to be realistic and not train 5 days a week. Realistically, you're going to be able to train 2 or 3 days a week. Let's see if we can rely more on your diet, your cardiovascular, and the training to do something synergistic, so you're not gym dependent. Because a lot of people, once they get out the gym, they gain the weight because they were using the gym to keep the weight off, as opposed to a combination of the gym and dieting and proper supplementation.
And I think that's one of the things too I'd love about working with you. Like you're not one of those even though, as friends, I just want to stay in touch with you anyway. But
Right.
you're not one of those people though who are like, you've always said like you shouldn't have to train with me forever. Or if you need to take a break and do something, it's like you should be able to do some things on your own or know how to, work on your own, like you said, outside of the gym and use your own body as resistance and all these other things. So it's sort of like I always think good therapists are that way too. Like you shouldn't be my therapist for 20 years. Like that means you're not making progress, right?
Right.
So
Well,
you've always made that point.
it's interesting. A big difference between training maybe 20 years ago and training people right now. And 20 years ago, if you were working in somebody's gym and you were training and you had a client and they weren't getting in shape, the manager would pull you over to the side and say, "Hey, man, if you're not getting that person in shape, you got to get out my gym because we don't allow that."
Right.
Now, fitness has changed. It's commercialized. It's a repeat customer. So trainers don't
Mm,
really care if you keep re-upping, as opposed to me. I always thought that was a bad business model because you can't really raise the price on somebody that you have the same client over and over again, year after year. And two, it doesn't allow you to evolve as a trainer because you're working on the same bodies over and over again. So by
right.
retaining it, you're holding yourself back. You need to work with different types of populations, some handicapped, elderly, pre and postnatal. You want to work with all of these and different races, because a
Mm-hmm.
racial has a lot to do with how easy someone gets in shape based off a certain amount of carbohydrates or not, which I found throughout the years, which is interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta evolve as a trainer and let the person evolve, and hopefully when you guys circle back, you have a different skill set and the person's at a different place, and you can take them to somewhere else. But I always think your body is too much of a personal thing to be dependent on somebody else to maintain it. It's an unhealthy
And then
relationship.
right. And then also, would you say how we evolve as people? So, like we said, if I've known you 20 years at least, that's, the 20-year-old me, body wise or fitness wise, is
Right.
definitely different than the 40 something year old me. So nowadays, everybody, I talked to Mark about, as I mentioned, with the Juice Plus supplements, which we have a link to in the comments. Recovery is a big part of the process before stretching. Mark is he
Yeah.
forces stretch before and after. There are things that, which I probably should have done all along, of
And
course, but
during the
and
workout.
during,
Yeah, very
exactly,
important.
stretching in between. Yes, stretching in between exercises during the workout, I've learned from Mark is very important. But again, for all of us, just knowing that where you are in your life, I've been an athlete playing basketball and track and all those things when I was younger. And now, I'm in my 40s and thank goodness still healthy, but it just looks different. So should we allow ourselves, Mark, to know that things will change over time and we'll need to adjust just in, like you said, in all parts of our life, but definitely with fitness?
Yeah, absolutely. Generally speaking, you're getting into your late 30s, over 40s. If you're a female, your main goal should be bone density and keeping as much muscle mass on your body as possible, because the muscle mass is what keeps your metabolism going. So the more muscle mass
Mm-hmm.
you have, the more food you can eat that won't get stored as fat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the tighter your skin, a lot of women make this mistake and they go the other way and they start restricting as they get older. So they're losing muscle mass, but the skin isn't bouncing back. So although they're smaller, the skin is hanging over. It gives the appearance of actually being older. It
Mm-hmm.
ages you, as opposed to have the skin tighter by having more muscle mass. So that's a big
Mhm.
mistake. You want to retain that bone density because women in the 40s, 50s, they're losing bone density at a dramatic rate. So for injury prevention and just longevity, you want to maintain that, and you want to keep your muscle mass because the muscle mass is what keeps your body secreting growth hormones that keeps you young. You have to give
Mhm.
your body a reason to keep your hormones to work once you get past a certain age, and that reason is training combined with proper nutrition and recovery. If you have any of those three missing, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And bone density, one of the ways to help with that is lifting weights, which sometimes women, I don't know if that's much anymore, but I know years ago a lot of women used to avoid lifting weights because thinking, oh, I don't want to get too bulky or I don't want to look too, whatever the thinking used to be around it. But would you say that's one of the important weight training? It's an important part of workout,
Yeah,
especially for women.
resistance training is one of the only ways you can stave off osteoporosis. And that is a fact. So, posture, keeping that muscle mass, keeping that youthful appearance, keeping your hormonal levels up is all from resistance training. So very
Hmm.
important to, as a woman or any even a male, anybody over 30, late 30s, early 40s, you have to invest in that bone density and putting that muscle mass on just to stay active as you're older, because now they can keep you alive with the prescription drugs, but it's about your
Right.
quality of life. They can keep you alive now. So you can go to 80, 90 miserable on 25 different drugs, and not
Exactly.
cognizant liver, but it's your quality of life. So make sure that you're able to enjoy that longevity by taking care of yourself now.
I think that's such a point. You mentioned that earlier too, the fact that so much of not a lot of these industries are about prevention, right? It's all about treating things after you're already sick, as opposed to how do I take care of myself before I get sick. But that's the industry, especially, prescription drugs. And, if you need to take something, we're not saying shaming anybody for needing something, but it is the way the industry is set up. Sell us all these different kinds of foods and things that make us, us feel like we need to have them, and then sell us the drugs to help us fix all the problems that come along
Absolutely.
with that. Right. So what would you say then, Mark, and everybody, just to check in again, we are talking to celebrity trainer Mark Jenkins, and he is answering our questions about fitness and wellness and how that plays into our overall success, not only with our health, but also with our wealth and our lives. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I will ask Mark now or later if you're watching the replay. So, Mark, I know one of the things you and I talk about a lot when we have our sessions together and just chatting are how important our fitness or overall health is to our minds. And I know you have your podcast, The Anabolic Mind,
Right.
where you talk some about that. But can you tell us how you've learned that even more over the years? And then tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fitness for your mind, it gives you a place where you can retreat from your everyday stresses, and of course, exercise gives you the endorphin release, the feeling of accomplishment, the feeling that you put yourself first and actually put energy into yourself before, so you're less resentful when you expend energy with other people because you paid yourself
Mm-hmm.
first and you took care of yourself. So it does a myriad of things. It gives you more confidence. I used to train Johnny Cochran, and he used to train at like, I don't know, man, 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock, four
Wow.
thirty in the morning. I used to come see him and train, and he'd already be on the treadmill, warmed up for a half hour, 40 minutes. So whatever time he got up, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
because it was already early, and he was already ready to rock. And I'd be like, damn, Johnny, how why you get up so early to train? And he was like, I feel like I can impose my will so much more after I work out for my day, because I put this
Mm.
energy into myself first. It wasn't for him to look good. It was purely performance and at his job.
Mm-hmm.
And so it definitely helps with your performance just on a subconscious level, that you put the energy into yourself first, or you overcame some weight that you were iffy on and you push through, and then you take that. And that's the benefit of originally the monks created martial arts because monks were falling asleep during their meditations.
Mm.
That's why martial arts were created, to strengthen the body so they could ascend to a higher level meditation wise. So you should
Really?
take the yeah. So not to fight or beat up anybody. It was just because they were meditating so long, their backs, they used to fall asleep. So
Right.
they then created a system, and that's how that started. Interestingly enough, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we need to apply to our fitness. So this way, it's we don't feel that resentment when we have to pay for fitness, or we have to pay for our wellness, or we have to pay a little bit extra for some organic food, or
Right.
we have to go a little bit further to that food co-op to get that fresh food that doesn't have any pesticides in it. So this way, we're not looking at it as just a superficial thing. We're looking at it as something we're using for our journey to strengthen us for our journey in every facet of our wellness.
And I think the Johnny Cochran example is such a good one. Just about like you say, he can impose his will much more when he knows I dedicated some time to myself. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
clearly, yeah, a mental thing. And plus the fact that you're like, I'm getting up early, or I'm getting up and I'm dedicated to this, and I'm focused on this and that kind of thing. I will say over the years, as I mentioned, have been when I was younger, an athlete because I love playing games and basketball and all
Hmm.
that stuff. But as time has gone on, it's been as important. Of course, I tell everybody, I tell Mark how I want to look cute or whatever in my bathing suit, but more so, it has been as important for me mentally to be able to
Yeah.
know I'm going for even a walk like I did today. That's why I'm looking like, fitness
Hmm.
girl today, but going for a walk and like, okay, I did that for myself. So, what would you say then, Mark, for people who right now say we're into March now, so maybe, I don't know, maybe the New Year's resolution of working out, have kind of gone to the wayside, or maybe they're still sticking with it. How do we, and Mark has a book called The Jump Off. So, how do we jumpstart our fitness routine if we don't know where to go right now?
Well, the body follows the mind. So the biggest thing is that you have to make the mental shift. Like, I'm going to incorporate this into my business plan. So now it's no longer a health and wellness thing, because the first thing that, especially when people start losing money, financial times are hard. The first thing they do is drop off on their gym membership, or they drop off on their healthy eating.
Mm,
But you need to incorporate that into your business plan. So you need to find a cut in your entertainment or something else that's detrimental to you before you start cutting on your health and wellness. And you have to allot a budget. And if you have that monthly budget or weekly budget, even if it's $10, that's a guest pass to the gym. Or, that,
mm-hmm.
or that's one juice shake. There's something that you can do with that. So you need to start allotting the money, and then you need to look at your overall program and say, hey, how is this going to affect me 2 to 3 years from now if I'm not allocating anything financially to my actual wellness? If I'm not taking any type of supplementation to help my immune system, how is that going to impact me 3 to 4 years from now when I know another pandemic is imminent? Like, you have
Right.
to start thinking preventative and being logical and looking at your wellness strategically, at how it plays into your life and how important your wellness is, especially for us in the United States with the healthcare situation always being
Mm-hmm.
precarious here. Other countries, they have a little bit of other options. And what's interesting is that other countries fly me in to their country because they don't want to pay for prescription drugs, insulin for their population. So they fly me in to talk about health and fitness and what's going on in America, and not to follow that model.
Right. Which
So,
is crazy.
yeah, which is
Right. They
crazy.
like,
So,
you come here and talk about how the system is broken there, right?
tell them
Mm-hmm.
what's going on here, and what the average body fat is for in America, and the people are like, oh my God, I gotta start.
Right. Right.
But we don't realize here because everybody's
Right.
in the same condition. So it's very important for us to start making some, and even as far as on the entrepreneurial level, on the franchises that we do. We open up franchises. We're black. We open up franchises that are killing other black people. If that's your second or third way you're diversifying business, why don't you be like, hey, let me try to do something healthy and put something healthy out and make money, as opposed to going to the lowest hanging fruit,
Like a
alcohol
liquor
or or, or,
store.
or,
Yeah.
or fast food. Conscious capitalism. We're starting to be vampirish on an economic level on our own people in the community, and that
Mm-hmm.
only leads to more food deserts, in the communities.
Mm-hmm. More health problems,
Yeah, more
etc.
health problems.
So tell us then about the supplements. So you and I talk about supplements. I know you're an ambassador for Juice Plus, which is a program you can tell us about. But tell us why, especially as we get older, supplements and those kind of things are important for us.
So at your body, there are certain phytonutrients that your body needs. Phytonutrients is a fancy word for fruits and vegetables, right? That's what phyto. Everybody's like, wow, what the phytonutrients mean? So you see that in all kinds of advertising, but phytonutrients are fruits and vegetables. Now, fruits and vegetables give you an immuno-enhancing response. They lower your cholesterol automatically. They make you more insulin sensitive, so you don't need as much insulin to disperse your glucose. So they work on a myriad of things, cognitive functions, as well as omega 3, 6, and 9 fatty acids, right? So the CDC recommends you need 12 servings of fruits and vegetables a day to get this immuno-enhancing function. Now, here's the thing with that, which is interesting. 1 cup of spinach today, from 1960, it takes 20 cups to equal the nutrient amount today because of over farming.
Wow.
So within them telling you you need 12 servings of fruits and vegetables, if your fruit and vegetables are not organic and they've been farmed regular, they don't even have the
Right.
nutrients in there that you're getting the 12 servings from.
Mhm.
So
So it'd
with
be
that,
like 12 times 20 for the spinach.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Today,
yeah,
like, yeah.
exactly. And then
Right.
if you had a family, there'd be no way you could afford
Right.
that or eat
Right.
that.
Or
So
eat that.
you got to start looking at supplementation as a way you can get your nutrients in there and save you money at the same time. So with the Juice Plus product, they have the full spectrum of the phytonutrients in an NSF certification, which is higher than organic, because organic can still be placed with other fruits and vegetables that have
Mm,
pesticides around them, where NSF
mm,
certification is no contact at all. So it's actually a higher certification. And you've taken it, I've taken it. It does amazing things for your recovery system because it lowers your inflammation. And that's what got me hooked on the product. I have other people who take it for cholesterol, other people who have different issues. But me in particular, it was the ability to, I can train 2 or 3 times more when I'm taking a Juice Plus product. And I know now that I'm covered fruits, vegetable rise, and my essential fatty acids, even if I'm not able to get it through my diet all the time at that same quantity, because that gets very
mhm.
expensive to eat that amount of fruit and vegetables every single day. And you can't get the full spectrum all the time.
Right.
So
Right.
it's really been making a difference. And for me, who was on a low carbohydrate diet for so many years, I didn't know how deficient I was, especially in the phytonutrients coming from fruit, because my vegetables were pretty much covered, but I wasn't eating as much fruit because of the sugar. So you guys
Mhm.
out there, if you're using fruit as a way to get your nutrients, it's a double-edged sword because you're getting a lot of sugar, which can cause insulin resistance. And if you're already obese, you don't want to have, or overweight, you don't want to be taking in excess sugar. And if the sugar you're eating is not from an organic source, you're not even getting the nutrients. So it's not even
Right.
worth intaking the sugar. So, with that being said, I thought it'd be a great product to introduce to the community because it will save them money, help with the immune system with everything that was going on with the pandemic wise, and instantly lower inflammation, which is a big stress factor, which leads to all kinds of other things: osteoporosis, hypertension, joints hurting. It's the inflammation. If we keep my inflammation down, our overall health is a lot better. So I was sold on the product. So you guys have got any information on it, give me a shout. And whether you do that or not, do your research on your own supplementation. It's very important. Do your own research on how much fruits and vegetables you should be getting. Do your own research on anything anyone tells you about health and wellness. Don't take anybody's word, for example. Do your own research. Very important.
Mhm. Yes, and I will say that I'm glad you mentioned inflammation because I think that's something that we might not know is an issue too. So everybody, a few months ago, I guess maybe it was late last year, maybe
Hmm.
whenever it was. I think Mark, I was like my bones are cracking and everything feels stiff, and I just didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe I had rheumatoid arthritis. I thought lupus. I didn't know what was going on. I talked to the doctor. I did blood work just to see, and she said, "Thank goodness, everything looks fine. It's probably inflammation." And then that's when I started working with, well, not working with Mark, but trying the Juice Plus gummies. I use the gummy supplements, the fruits and vegetables. And you can only look at what did you change when things started to change, right? So I don't feel that stiff and those kind of things in the morning. As I said, after workouts, I'm not, working out with Mark, you're gonna have at least a day where you
Oh
just
yeah,
feel kind of beat
you're
up.
gonna feel a little
Yeah.
bit.
I mean, like let's be serious. Like you need at least a day in between after working out with him, but it didn't feel as like painful and just joints and everything. It wasn't concerning. The difference when your body is aching because you did a good workout versus when you're in pain for some other reason. And the only thing I can think of is that I started regularly using supplements, and that was helpful. So as Mark said, I think look at Juice Plus, but then do your own research and just look. It might be some other things. You might be taking pills for one thing, and it could be inflammation or something else.
Yeah, yeah. Always review the prescription drugs you're taking and the supplements that
Hmm.
you're taking, and then see where they're sourced. Like if you are already taking omega products, see, is that wild caught? Where's that oil coming from? Is it farm raised salmon fish oil that you're actually taking? You could be taking in
Right.
toxins trying to get healthy. So now in this age where it's really the consumer beware. So you really have to do your own research and make sure that your supplementation not only is effective in the effective dosage, but coming from the right source. So you're not intaking toxins trying to get healthy.
Right. So,
Yeah.
what would you say, Mark, is one thing that you really, if you could say to the audience now, like, this is, if nothing else, this is the one thing I want to make sure you know about your either your health, your fitness, and your wellness. What's something you would want to make sure to leave with them?
If I was going to tell somebody to do one thing that would be beneficial for them,
One thing beneficial, or just even information, like something you just want to make sure
you know
everybody
what?
knows.
The one thing I would tell you to do is like right now, like, and it doesn't cost that much. It's within $200. You know, you can save up for it if you can't afford it. $250. I would recommend everybody once a year go to a sports, not a doctor, but a sports professional clinic and get your blood work analysis done. That would be the
Mm,
best thing. That would be the one thing I could say because once you get that reading back by someone who's unbiased, they can tell you your vitamin C is low, and then you can take your supplementation and see if it works because you can revisit that 6 to 7 months later, a year later, and see if you're actually up in the dosages of the supplement that you were taking. That's how you can quantify if the stuff you're taking is actually effective. You know, like if your cortisol levels are sky high, it doesn't matter what workout program I put you on, you're not going to get a result from it because your stress hormones are already high. You have to get that low before the exercise will actually work. So
mm-hmm.
I always recommend clients get their blood work done, right? I've talked to you about that many times because it gives you the data where I can better design the program and then you can see
Mm-hmm.
what's actually going on in your body as opposed to speculating. That would be the
Now
best
you
advice I could.
No, that's great. Now, well, I just want to make sure. So you're saying don't go to like your regular doctors. There is particular, you said a sports
Yeah, yeah,
medicine.
yeah. There are sports medicine doctors. There are performance doctors and clinics. Where they talk about human performance and optimization, how to get you in the best shape,
Okay.
and then they analyze your blood work, and based on that, they give you what your
A
levels
report.
are and what they should
Okay.
be. And then, I think that is the best way to go right now because then you can make an educated decision on what type of supplementation, as opposed to hearing somebody on a podcast say, "Oh, that hits for me. Let me try to take that." But the thing I like about phytonutrients is that fruits and vegetables, everybody's supposed to be taking that. Omega 3, 6, and 9 fatty acid, it's already been general knowledge for years that improves brain function and cognitive ability in children and adults just by taking that. So those are things that everybody's supposed to be taking. But as far as everything else, you really have to look at it and see what your body is deficient in. And this way you're not wasting your money,
Right.
you
No,
know?
that's great. I'm going to do that. I've done it with the doctor, but I didn't know about thinking about a sports medicine, someone who's about
Right.
performance and doing sort of that
Right. Who's going to
workout.
give you an unbiased decision because
Yeah.
a lot of times the doctors are getting paid by the prescription drug companies to have
Prescription.
incentives for getting you on a prescription drug company. And I'm not trying to slight doctors
No,
because
right.
I train
Exactly.
I train a lot of doctors, but that is the business that they're in.
Right.
That's just the
Exactly.
reality of the situation. So, the more educated you are as a consumer, and if you have a personal trainer, ask them what their methodology is, why they have this exercise in a certain sequence. That's the whole thing. Get as educated as you can. My best tip to you as a consumer, so that you can use all the tools available as effectively as you can.
And everybody, I am the queen of, I don't know if Mark likes this or not, but he indulges me. I'm always like, why are
Oh
we
yeah.
doing that? Why does that work? What is that? Why does it feel this way? Why does it feel different? Where am I? Like, I'm the queen of questions
And then what do I tell
during the
you guys?
workout.
I'm like, damn, Elaine, you're the only client that asks me questions, man. I can't believe it. More people should be asking me. I always tell you the same
Right. You
thing.
always do. Like, he's like,
I
damn,
said,
you asked me
man,
so many questions.
you ask more than everybody combined. But
I
Elaine
know.
asks a question after every, why are we doing it this way? Why is it in this sequence? Why are we doing so
What?
many reps? And that's what you need to be doing, especially if you're paying
Oh,
somebody to train you. Because you
right.
need that. Yeah, you're right. You need that information after you finish paying with me. You can keep that journey going. And you
Right.
guys, if you're training with personal trainers, take notes so you can have the workouts memorized so that when you don't need him, you actually have the workouts and the weights so you know what
Right.
you were doing at your progressions. This way you get something out of training other than for the moment.
Right. Thank you, Mark, for indulging me. I know I sound like a bad client, but I'm a good client. And I want to know, honestly, because like Mark said, when I'm doing something, I need to know, even when one of the things that I'll say that people sometimes say to me is, when I say, oh, I work out with my, trainer virtually, and they're like, oh, can't you just do YouTube videos or can't you just do this? Which of course you can. There's nothing against that. I mean, I do that for some yoga exercises
Me
and that
too. Me
kind of
too.
thing. Right. Yeah. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, getting those at least 2 workouts in ideally with Mark a week, I know I'm going to be corrected when I'm doing a move wrong. When you're doing it by yourself, no one's there to say, or even just to say you should feel it here or you should feel it there. That to me is a big proponent of why I enjoy working out with a trainer. And again, you know, we're not saying that this is what you have to do, but just so people have a sense of, you know, well, why should I do that when I can just fill in the blank? So this is something that I think is important because of the information that I get out of doing that. And Mark, I want to read a couple of comments to you. So Jamie Beal Howe says, this has been so informative and enjoyable. I have to hop off, but didn't want to hop off without thanking you both. I will definitely check out the supplements. Be well. Thank you, Jamie.
Oh,
We
hey,
appreciate that.
appreciate you.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, make sure, and everyone, please make sure to follow, is it the real Mark Jenkins on Instagram?
The Mark Jenkins.
The Mark Jenkins on
Mhm.
Instagram. The Mark Jenkins on Instagram. And you're on LinkedIn too, right?
And I'm on LinkedIn too, Mark
He's on
Jenkins.
LinkedIn as well, Mark Jenkins. And Vivian Green says, I'm an author of Dancing in the Rain and have the Dance of Finance and Dance of Happy Hormones coming soon. Would you
Oh, nice.
contribute a chapter?
Oh, yeah,
You want
definitely.
to reach out? Yeah.
Shoot me an email.
Get
I
in
would love to
touch.
connect. Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
get in touch, Vivian. Do you want her to send you maybe a message on
Oh,
Instagram or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
DM?
Just DM me on IG, the Mark
Okay.
Jenkins. Yeah.
The Mark Jenkins, Vivian DM the Mark Jenkins on Instagram, and you guys can be in touch and see if that'll work out. Thank you. I'm so glad we got some comments here. I know it's middle of the day, and as I said, anyone who's watching this later, if you have comments, I'll get them to Mark, or if you have questions, don't feel like, oh, I missed it. We want to make sure that you have as much information as possible. Mark, thank you so much. Is there
Thank you for
anything else
having me.
you want to? Yeah, of course. First man, good
I
job.
know.
Good
Thank you.
job.
I was under pressure. I was under pressure.
Oh, and Tashima says this was great. Thank you for this important information. Thank you all so much. We're so glad you were watching. Mark, I want to I mentioned it before, but I don't know if you talked about it. I want to share about your podcast, Anabolic
Oh, yeah,
Mind.
yeah, yeah. I got the Anabolic Mind on Wincheck Studios. Just DM me. I'll send you a bunch of information on there. But I'm interviewing people like Elaine who incorporated fitness into their lifestyle, who are top executives and who face challenges just like everyday people, as well as some of my celebrity people. So I got a good mix of celebs, good pick of celeb executives, good amount of influencers, and some funny people in different walks of life. Some in shape, some out of shape, very out of shape.
Mm,
But talking about what happened, when did they get out of shape, how they implemented fitness back into their life, and how that correlates into their entrepreneurial endeavors. So that's why we call it the
yes,
anabolic mind, because we want you in your mind in a state of growth.
in a state of growth. I love it. I
Yeah.
think we're doing our interview tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, yes. I can't
Tomorrow,
wait to have
yes.
yeah, I can't wait to have you on there.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad we were able to do this. And thank you all so much for your comments. Again, I just want to reiterate because this is something Mark and I are both passionate about. If you have any questions, need any support, you want to learn more about Mark, you want to learn more about his personal training, fitness training, he does so virtually. He's in California, at least for right now. I'm in
Yeah.
Atlanta. We've both been in New York before. He's been in DC, and I've been. There's a way to make it work, and you will get a lot out of the workout. Sequoia Benjamin Mark says, this is good. Thank you both for your time and information. I'll be listening in and checking into the supplements. Awesome,
All
Sequoia.
right,
Let us
cool.
know how it goes. Excellent. Thank you
Oh
all so
yeah, and
much.
I have
Go ahead, Mark.
I got the program. I got the 2 free training sessions. When you buy the supplement programs from me, you get 2 virtual training sessions for free. So hit me up,
What?
DM me. Yep, I got the program, a special coming up. So DM me for that, and you get 2 free, and you get your diet numbers, your
Excellent.
carbohydrate and protein requirements. So take
Oh, let's
advantage.
mention. I know we got to go, but let's mention. Well, we got you. I got you for at least an hour, right? So two.
What? Yeah, 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 yeah.
I got you
Yep.
15 more minutes. Okay, just want to
Mhm.
mention this for everybody. So one of the things, and let me know what you think, Mark. So diet is something we didn't really touch on. So if anybody's still listening, I want you to check this out. One of the things that I think is a myth is people think, oh, I want to lose weight. I got to stop eating. And I
Right.
know you've always said it's not, diet isn't just based on restriction. It's about knowing your numbers and your numbers for you. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. If you restrict it to lose weight, right? If you cut your calories to lose weight, you're going to lose fat and muscle. For every pound of muscle you lose, that's 300 calories less you can eat, because the muscle, like I said before in the beginning, is what keeps your metabolism going. Fat doesn't
Mm-hmm.
burn calories on your body. It's just there. The
Mm-hmm.
muscle burns calories because it's actually moving and metabolizing, and stuff's happening within the muscle. So that burns the calories, and that's what keeps your metabolism going. So based on that, I developed the person's diet, just like with you. I look at your body, I took your body fat, I subtracted your body fat from that. That gave me your lean mass. And then We looked at a certain amount of carbohydrates per pound of lean body mass you had and a certain amount of protein per lean body mass you had. And at the same time, I look at you and I say, hey, and I get your input because we're collaborating.
Mhm.
I'm like, you're like, hey, I want to look more curvy because we've done it some years where you wanted to be more curvy. We've done it some years where you wanted to look a little bit leaner, right?
Mhm.
And then based on the client's input, I put back in the amount of numbers that you're supposed to have. And that changes because if I'm looking to get lean to grow, I have to give her a higher protein ratio than if I'm looking to lean her out, you know. So if or she's training heavy, we're going through a strength training cycle. I want her protein a little bit higher, you know, or
Mhm.
she's less active. Well, I know she's going on vacation that week prior. I'll cut the calories back because I know she's going to overeat on the
Mhm.
vacation. We try to, you know, we try to make the adjustment so she's looking the same throughout the year. And then when she has
Right.
a red carpet event, we can peak her out within a week or two. So that
Mhm.
those are, and then we try to get the functionality and all that stuff in between. So those turn into numbers. Now, with those numbers that I get, I can give you all of that in one meal, and you will still lose weight or gain weight. But if we break it up into several meals, it takes calories to digest each meal. So we get
Mm.
freebies of calories burned in the digestive process. So between you getting
Mhm.
the numbers for your body, and this goes regardless of whether you're vegan, fish only, eggs only, there's a certain amount of protein that you need to grow, and there's a certain amount of carbohydrates that you eat. If you exceed that amount, will get converted into fat. So that's why I give people their numbers instead of telling them what to eat, because then they can take those numbers and apply
Right.
them to whatever foods that they like. So you have the freedom to eat what you want. And that's why my system works. And that's why a lot of celebrities like the system, because I'm not telling them what to eat per se. I'm like, here are your numbers. We need to get you here, you know, within 30 days for you to hit this target weight so you can wear this gown at the Cannes Film Festival
Right. Exactly.
or something like
Thank you
that.
so.
And that's how
Yeah,
usually work.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And I will tell you, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm glad we talked about it. And everyone, just so you know, like Mark said, in my case and with his other clients, it's about your lifestyle or whether it's what you have coming up event wise or what your goal is as far as how you want to look and feel moving forward. And what I realized throughout that process, Mark, was that I'm a vegan, mostly well, vegan, no dairy, no meat. My cheat in Puerto Rico was I had a piece of fish and I missed it so much. It was so good.
Mhm.
But still, I realized I wasn't getting enough protein. Once you gave me the numbers and I looked at what I was eating, and in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I get plenty of protein. I'm doing good through my vegetables. But when I looked at the numbers and really saw how much each counted, I wasn't getting enough. So it helped me even know what to boost as far as how I was eating, what I was eating, or making sure that what I was eating, I should say, provided me the protein that I needed.
And when you ate more, you lost more body
Mm.
fat, right?
Exactly.
Quicker. So
Yep.
it's fascinating how that works. You know, people think because if you keep cutting, there's nothing left. It's not a long-term strategy. These juice
Right.
fasts and these
Yeah, that's not
cleanses,
sustainable.
yeah, these cleanses, they work because you're cutting all your calories down to just juice, but you're losing so much muscle that when you go back to eating normally, you gain more weight because now your metabolism is slower. So
Hmm.
use fasting for detoxification purposes, not for weight loss purposes.
Use fasting for detoxification purposes, not for weight loss purposes.
Right. People
Got
get on
it.
these cleanses and fasts to lose weight, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is for you to cleanse your body, to give your organs a chance of processing so they can regenerate and heal themselves to give your body, not for you to lose weight. If you use that to lose weight, you're gonna lose muscle mass,
Hmm.
and you have to be very careful getting off one of these programs about how much carbohydrates you eat because you haven't ate that stuff in so long and your metabolism is slower. They're gonna store as fat that much quickly.
Right.
So
It's
so
trying, your body's trying to
yeah,
hold on to
so
it. So,
even when you break the cleanse or fast gradually, get back to the way you were eating normally. Give your body a chance to adapt.
how often do you, and everybody, of course, this is individual choice, but how often do you fast? Do you do it? So, say, like for me, after I went away for vacation, I came back and I did a more cleanse than fasting, for a couple days just to sort of, I felt for me, I just needed like a reset. And now I'm back to my normal diet. But do you cleanse or fast or cleanse every certain amount of time, or how do you suggest people do it?
It depends on how toxic I feel I am.
Mm.
I've had periods where I was doing a 48-hour cleanse every weekend
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of months. I've had periods where I do it once a month. Now maybe I'm doing every 1 to 2 months because I'm intermittent fasting now. So I find that
Mm-hmm.
during the intermittent fasting phase, I'm getting almost like a cleansing or detoxification effect daily, so I don't have to do it specifically. As much like I haven't eaten yet, I won't eat until after 12 o'clock this
Mhm.
afternoon,
Me too.
and then I'll cut off at like 7 or 8. So I find it all depends on what your lifestyle is. That's why it's good to speak to other professionals so they can factor everything in, and you get as knowledgeable as possible, and you tell the person everything.
Right. Right.
So
No
so they
secrets.
yeah, no secrets, so that they can give you a good assessment.
Exactly. Yes. Excellent. Dang, there was one more thing. Oh man, it just went out of my mind. I wanted to ask Mark about. It'll come back to me. Okay, maybe I have to have him back and ask him about it next
Oh,
time.
we should do
It
a
wasn't
group.
a
We should do a group class one time, workout one time. That would be
yeah.
dope.
Would you guys be into that? Let's organize a group class. Yeah. What can we do? Like on Zoom or something?
Yeah, yeah, we could do it
We
on
do
Zoom or
like a
something.
group. Yeah, and you'll lead a class.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we
I'm
do
gonna
like leg
organize
day.
the. Oh gosh, leg day. All right, good. Oh man, I can't. Well, thank you, Mario. I mean, everything it's nothing that's missing. You've provided so much great information. I was gonna. Oh, I know. Last thing. How many times a week? So there's all this. Again, we see you
Hmm.
on Instagram, social media, or even if you look at Mark's Instagram, the Mark Jenkins, you might think, oh my God, he's going hard in the gym every day. But Mark told me you have to have days off in between. So just talk to us a little bit about that myth of I got to go hard every day and why that's actually bad for you. Could be.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, if you, first of all, you definitely shouldn't be working out every day if you don't know what your protein intake is every day,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you don't know, you're not even eating, you don't know if you're eating enough to recover from the training. If you're not sleeping 6 to 8 hours a night, you should not be training every day. Even professional athletes don't train every day. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
recovery system that you have to use to go to work, to take care of the kids, to run your business. It's the same one that's recovering you from the workouts. So even when you read a lot of the stuff in the magazines, and you see pros working out in certain type of high intensity training, it's not applicable to somebody who has everyday stress in everyday life and who's working a 9 to 5 on top of that. So it's not how much you train, it's how much training you can recover from. So you always want to look into that equation. A good
Mm-hmm.
way to start out is 3 times a week training. If that feels good, 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days back on, 1 day off. If that feels good, maybe you go 2 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 2 days off, and
Mm-hmm.
giving yourself that time to recover and see if you feel better. I always feel better if I get a recovery session in between every 2 workouts. You know,
Okay.
I
So
feel
you
if
do
I,
2 days on, 1 day off.
yeah, I feel good with that. I feel if I take 2 days off after three, I feel sluggish coming back to the gym. But that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
find out, what your body responds to the best, but make sure you're getting sleep and make sure you're eating right because that's part of recovery as well.
And what does your recovery day look like? Is it not doing any kind of physical training or is it doing something lighter? And
It
obviously, of
varies.
course, your Mark is a trainer, so it might be a little different than our average person.
Yeah, I'm 51. I'm trying to fight next year, trying to get into some MMA. So my recovery is more
Woo!
restorative. I'm doing more yoga,
Right.
split training, rolling. Nothing that has to where I'm exerting myself. I might sit in a
Mhm.
cold chamber, take an ice bath, but nothing was putting a
Ooh.
strain on my central nervous system. Everything to lower inflammation.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love it. That was my other question. Excellent. All right, everybody. I hope you got some real tools here about how to jumpstart or get the jump off for your workout, your fitness routine, and how to overall. I hope the message has been received. Of look at your overall health and wellness and how this all plays into it. It's been crucial for me as an entrepreneur, building my business, launching a book, all these other things that I was doing. It was so important for me to have a fitness, a fitness expert and someone who was invested in my success, not just, for the sake of some pictures, but really in my overall wellness and success. Kim Wilson said, whoop, whoop. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, that's my girl, Kim.
Kim. Thank you, Kim. Mark, thank you so much, everyone. Once again, go to markjenkinsfitness.com to find out more about him. I believe I have that in the write up, the description. Also, find out more about Juice Plus. He has the link that we put the link there to find out more about the supplements that Mark and I both use. And then you can follow Mark on Instagram. He does great videos of different workouts and the jump rope routines. I'm always trying to get better at jumping rope at the Mark Jenkins there. Mark, thank you so much. I
Hey,
appreciate
thank you
you.
so much. And you are a great client, and I'm so thankful for you. If I don't tell you enough, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Excellent. Hold
All
on
right.
one second. Thank you, everyone.